going on. So,
in my opinion, there are two things that occurred in the year 2020 that are blatantly obvious. In fact, to me they are so obvious that at times it has been extremely frustrating to watch. And the reason it became so frustrating is because I've watched so many people around me blindly follow the same old script. The first obvious thing in my opinion is that the now infamous coronavirus was very clearly manufactured in a lab. We know that the virus was created at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and we also know that Obama lifted a ban on gain-of-function research 11 days prior to Trump taking office. This is Dr. Thomas Tuttle. You definitely don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out that Dr. Turtle here bears a striking resemblance to that of Dr. Anthony Fauci. In January 1919, Washington's health commissioner urged legislators in the state capital, Olympia, to enforce strict measures against the spread of the Spanish flu, which had just ended a deadly second wave in America. Recommended restrictions included banning dances and other social gatherings, as well as limits on how many people could attend public meetings and how far apart they should sit from one another. Now maybe it's just me, but I feel like I've heard that before. In fact, I feel like I've been living it for over a year now. It's easy to say that the resemblance between Dr. Tuttle and Dr. Fauci is simply a coincidence, but is it also a coincidence that Dr. Fauci bears a striking resemblance to that of John D. Rockefeller? And is it just a coincidence that Anthony Fauci appears to have a close relationship with David Rockefeller, George Soros, and Bill Gates Sr.? How many coincidences before it becomes mathematically impossible? Colleen Hubbard, who is a doctor of natural medicines, compared the number of deaths between states that were locked down and states that were not locked down. She concluded that the percentage of total deaths were 3 times higher on average in lockdown states than in free states. She also warned us that the unmasked bury the masked during the Spanish flu. What did people in mass die from? Bacterial pneumonia. Who knew this and wrote about it in 2008? Dr. Anthony Fauci. I don't know for sure if Dr. Fauci had anything to do with the creation of AIDS. Of course I have my suspicions, but I do know from a whistleblower that he at least had a hand in spreading it around and covering it up.
He directed the cover-up.
Knowing this information about Dr. Fauci makes this email here from Adam Gardner all the more disturbing. The subject of the email I am referring to, as you can see here, reads, Coronavirus Bioweapon Production Method. The email states, Hello Anthony, this is how the virus was created, and as you can see, right here for yourself, that the second ingredient to the novel coronavirus is HIV. Of course, right on cue, the fact checkers have said that this email is a mere myth, but as usual, they do very little to disprove the claim. They simply say that Adam Gardner copied and pasted the ingredients from this document titled Inhibitors of Cathepsin L Prevent Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus Entry. If you scroll down, you do in fact find the list of ingredients that Adam Gardner sent to Dr. Fauci, but the USA Today fact checkers wrote that Adam Gardner's claim is wrong and that the virus particles used in the experiment, which predated the emergence of COVID-19 by 14 years, did not contain genetic material from any coronaviruses. However, when you look at what's on the list of ingredients, you find that SARS-CoV-S protein is near the top of that list. And if you didn't know, SARS is just a strain of coronavirus. The fact checkers can fool the people who are too far gone. I'm talking about the people who have had too much propaganda in their life, and you can tell exactly who these people are because they are still wearing masks when they go out in public. It's important to remember that no matter how idiotic these people appear to be, at the end of the day, they are more or less just victims of a corrupt system. It's frustrating that we have to call them victims at times because they act like such assholes. In my opinion, the coronavirus surfaced for 3 main reasons. The first one, if you can remember back to it, was an attempt to divert the attention off of the alleged death of Jeffrey Epstein. The second reason, as you probably guessed, is depopulation. The third reason, in my opinion, was an attempt at stealing the election from Donald J. Trump. The fraudulent 2020 election is hands down the most blatant lie they thought they got away with. But the forensic audit of the presidential election in Maricopa County is estimated to be completed Monday, June 14th, which just so happens to be Donald Trump's birthday. How many coincidences does it take until something becomes mathematically impossible? One thing that I've been hearing a lot recently is that people either hate Donald Trump or they love Donald Trump. But there is a group in the middle that wants to like him and they want to trust him. But they figured out a long time ago that these presidential elections that take place every 4 years have been rigged for decades. These people have learned to look for the symbolism individuals are flaunting as a way to sort of judge their character. There's nothing wrong with these people. They have every right to be defensive. Donald Trump is wealthy, and at one point he was right in the thick of Hollywood. He flashes a 666 sign all the time, and he thanked Hillary Clinton after he was elected for showing up.
You know, I'll tell you, there is something that I wanted to say, because I was very honored, very, very honored, when I heard that President Bill Clinton and Secretary Hillary Clinton was coming today, and I think it's appropriate to say, and I'd like you to stand up. I'd like you to stand up.
On top of that, Trump didn't pardon Julian Assange or Snowden. Trump even denied knowing what WikiLeaks is and wished Jeffrey Epstein's madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, well in prison. But one thing I've never heard Donald Trump do was concede the 2020 election. A lot of people are skeptical over Donald Trump, as they claim he is the father of the vaccine and that he's pushing it. Is it possible that Donald Trump is on our side though? Could it be that maybe Trump was trying so hard to rush the vaccine out because he knew what their plan was? I mean, let's be honest with each other here. If anyone was paying attention, they would have saw the pandemic coming. Fauci said himself that Trump was going to have a surprise outbreak on his hands.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
And Bill and Melinda Gates decided to conduct a pandemic exercise called Event 201 in October of 2019. Most of us stopped paying attention after Trump was elected and he thanked Hillary Clinton.
And I'd like you to stand up.
I know I at least felt as though the Donald Trump that I voted for was quickly vanishing after he had the transition with the Obamas and he kept flashing his symbolic triangle. I thought Donald Trump wanted to help us, but as soon as he got in there, I felt like they got to him. But maybe that's exactly what Trump wanted. Is it possible that this triangular formation Trump was flashing with his hands was actually a sign to those who are awake that he is, in fact, on our side? In his New York Military Academy graduation photo, President Trump is clearly aligned, front and center, as the tip of the spear. What exactly is meant by tip of the spear? Military tacticians and historians often make use of the term tip of the spear. It refers to a combat force that is used to puncture the enemy's initial lines of defense, to be quickly followed by concentrated forces, which destroy any remaining threat. The infamous Trump Tower is even designed in a large-scale version of the spear tip, with an elaborate landscape of 6x6 green bushes comprising the tip of the spear pointed downward. In fact, Trump proudly features the penetrating spear tip on his family's coat of arms and made the hand gesture numerous times upon winning the presidential election. Is it possible that Donald Trump thanked Hillary Clinton that night?
And I'd like you to stand up.
Because she conceded the 2016 presidential election, even though it was rigged? Let's be honest with ourselves. On top of understanding that for decades now, presidents have been selected and not elected, they told us that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Does anybody actually believe that? I think it is very possible that Trump was just putting on a show, and only those who were truly awake understood what was happening. I also think that it's possible Donald Trump pushed the vaccine out so quickly in order for it to fall under the emergency category, thus becoming illegal to mandate the vaccine. Of course, Trump can't tell you not to get the vaccine, because if he did, then the media would simply blame Trump for people not getting it, and they would keep everything locked down until they made a new one, which was estimated to take 5 years. Donald Trump initially called the pandemic a hoax, so if you were actually paying attention, then you wouldn't even think about getting the vaccine, and you wouldn't have been wearing a mask around either. As far as Julian Assange goes, according to a professor of law at Michigan State University, a pardon does not need to be publicized at the time it is issued to be effective, so secret pardons are theoretically possible. And let's not forget the prosecutor in the 2009 Epstein case claimed that Donald Trump was the only one who helped him. And Donald Trump barred Epstein from Mar-a-Lago when he was harassing a minor. Is Donald Trump perfect? Probably not. But who is?
The issue of what happened when you were in France continues to be a story.
You're going to have to take that off, please. Just, you can take it off. How many feet are you away?
I'll speak a lot louder.
Well, if you don't take it off, you're very muffled. So if you would take it off, it would be a lot easier.
I'll just speak a lot louder. Is that better?
It's better.
The president accusing Democrats of trying to politicize coronavirus. He's suggesting that the press and Democrats are exaggerating the threat and calling their response to the crisis their new hoax.
This is their new hoax. We have lost nobody to coronavirus in the United States.
Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there.
Are we all looking?